employees of McDonald's, what secrets did you discover while working there? My old McDonald's had a basement. E-I-E-I-O. My first day on the job I was told to be on the lookout for the elderly gentleman who would try to sneak around the counter and pour the entire coffee pot into his mug while everyone was too busy to stop him. Drop any and open chicken nugget sauce on the ground once, so you've got yourself a sauce grenade. My manager used to be on my back all of the time for also jiving out too much sauce. He tried telling me the limit is 1 per meal. The pickles are surprisingly aerodynamic. They stick to walls and, if you have the stones, manager's shirts pretty well. Worked there in high school. Found out that if you put the middle of a Mac bun in the fryer and then add soft serve and strawberry topping, it tastes just like a funnel cake. Custom creations were the best part of working there. The official deodorizing spray they gave us is the most pleasant thing I've ever smelled in my entire life. Even now, I wish I could smell it again. Dehydrated onions. You put them in a metal thing and just add water. The thing is, they still taste great. I worked at McDonald's when they first introduced sweet tea and remember that it was brewed in a large bucket mixing hot water with a full bag of granulated sugar. It makes me sick to think about, but I still sometimes crave that disgustingly sweet tasty garbage. Depending on which one you work at. The parking lot is basically a meetup for druggies, drug dealers, and, at least where I was in New Mexico, people to meet up and have sex in their cars. As long as they kept their business to the middle of the night and didn't cause any serious problems. We were told not to call the cops or make a fuss. Mostly because they'd come in and buy food after their shenanigans. Soda and mini pies were really popular with heroin addicts. What I later found out is that management was actually told to let it slide by corporate. Since everyone higher up was aware of how much money the night crowd brought in. I got to see many drug deals. I'm convinced I saw at least one arms deal. But I of course have no way of verifying that. I worked there when I was in high school. Not a secret. But I hadn't known much about franchises before then. I hadn't realized that McDonald's could vary quite a bit in quality and professionalism based on who the owners were and what type of management workplace they set up. I worked at a really good one, with good management. But some ush tea. I learned that if I have time to lean, I have time to clean. For the one I worked at in high school, burgers are kept in a warming area for no more than 15 minutes, then thrown out and new ones are made. You get a free meal from anything except the salads. Meal is a sandwich, medium fries and a medium drink. At the end of the night all the cooked meat is thrown out. If you want you can use it to make burgers and take them home with you. Specific tools and grill section for cooking chicken versus beef to make sure they don't cross for those customers who don't eat beef. The Hindu co-workers were very vocal about this rule if you work the grill. Before I worked there, I always thought they used a grill. Not really a secret, but when I'm on wrapping the food, and I get nuggets, I might slip an extra 2-3 because I like the thought of someone getting hype over an extra nug or two. Man. Reading these I am wondering why my McDonald's was so boring. We didn't spit on anything. The stuff that needed to be kept clean was kept clean. If it wasn't required it would be filthy. The ice cream machine worked fine. Food wasn't undercooked. On occasion it was overcooked. Employing high school kids, of course they are gonna make some mistakes. But nothing too bad. I visited a McDonald's is when I was interning with the local health department. The inspector said that everything would be highly regulated, i.e. corporate. He was right. It was very clean and very orderly. Apparently it's the mom and pop places you need to worry about. So many affairs and love triangles. Also I don't know if this counts. But the food was not gross at all. Like our kitchen was super clean. Our meat was frozen and cheap but it was never gross. Our veggies were always good. The only thing gross was the fact that if you worked the french fries, you would go home covered in oil. but the actual oil wasn't gross. Maybe I just worked at a nicer McDonald's. But we weren't in the nicest of areas. The McDonald's that I worked at kept a very clean kitchen and front line. I had worked in restaurants that were privately owned and the food standards, throwing out old food and cleanliness, just weren't the same. I was very surprised with how much they constantly made us clean. Worked at McDonald's Australia. Back when we had the old cheeseburger buns. Before McDonald's got healthy, we used to scrunch up the buns and deep fry in the fry vat. Covered them in sugar. And you end up with something tasting like donuts. The Big Mac is just a double cheeseburger with 1000 island dressing. Lettuce and an extra piece of bread. Semicolon. If you order a double, add lettuce and Big Mac sauce. You get the same thing with less bread and cheaper price. I started working at McDonald's when I was 15. The secret is that it's probably one of the cleanest restaurants in your city. The standardizations and routine practices leave little room for employees to think for themselves. It was a way cleaner restaurant than the $30-50 per person place I would work at later. Anyone who says they messed with food was lying. Unless it's something boring like, we left patties in the warmers too long. One thing I was shocked by, this was pre-internet forums being widely used, so it was just info from people working there, was that no burgers are flipped. You put your 1 patties or 1 patties on the grill and hit a couple buttons and a second grill comes down and both sides are cooked for you. I loved scooping a big tower of them off the grill to plop into the warming trays. Also, I worked in one in the desert and sometimes our AC would crap out, but only for the back. Order an apple pie and a cup of ice cream and run that sob through the McFlurry mixer together. You can thank me later. I can never forget working breakfast. Those sandwiches need to be cheese, then meat, then egg. If the cheese is next to the egg, it makes the egg slip out. If you want a good replacement Big Mac sauce, 3 big tablespoons of good quality mayo, about a single good tablespoon of ketchup, 2 teaspoons of gherkin relish, 1 tablespoon or so of pickle juice, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, half to 1 teaspoon of turmeric. Mix till thoroughly combined. Leave in the fridge to let the ingredients make friends with one another overnight. Edit. I looked it up. And apparently this is just my version of ducking Thousand Island dressing. I worked McDonald's in high school for a couple of months before going to BK. McDonald's had more stuff to make things faster, like the cool ketchup and mustard dispensers and fry dispenser. I liked working at both places though. Mostly kids my age. I had a blast making $5. I'm surprised at how decent everything sounds. I've worked at several pricey restaurants with deeply questionable practices. I guess McDonald's has it down to science. Is there any official directive to not give sweet and sour sauce? No matter which McDonald's I go to in my area, I ask for sauce and even offer to pay for it. They add it to my order. And then I still have to argue with the person handing my food about giving me the sauce because I ordered a burger and fries and not chicken nuggets. Not really a secret. More of a story. One time someone replaced the chocolate syrup in the shake machine with barbecue sauce on accident because the bottles are similar. They're labeled differently, but it still happened. We found out because a few people complained that the chocolate shakes were sour. We remade them for a couple people and they moved on, but one lady just wouldn't let it go. My manager tasted the shake and was like WTF, then looked and we saw the culprit. Had to clean the line after that, so we didn't have chocolate shakes for a minute. Sauces for sandwiches have the craziest dispensers. Ketchup and mustard are in these really rudimentary plastic funnel things that have a paddle in the handle. When you squeeze it, gravity pushes just the right amount of sauce through holes. Doesn't seem like it'd work well, but it does if you apply the proper amount of jiggling. The Mac sauce, mayo, and tartar though, they're in basically cork tubes that get loaded into basically cork guns. You pull the trigger on the handle and a really satisfying ratchety clanking delivers a powerfully saucy surprise for the awaiting buns. Problem is, It takes a bit of finesse because if you hit the trigger too hard you'll blow the bun and the wad of creme right through the condiment station and onto the wall 8 feet away. No joke. The first couple tartar splurts of a fresh tube came out so hot I'd fire a shot or two in the trash to avoid premature spatulation during the lunch rush. The first salvo, properly elevated and adjusted for wind, could clear the whole kitchen and take out the McInfantry on the cash register. There is a glitch with the McDonald's app. There is a deals section and it usually has a coupon for a free cookie or free apple pie with any order. Add it to your order and you get the free cookie. Then, the next time you order from the app, just reorder your last meal. You can add subtract whatever you want, but the free cookie will still be there. The glitch is that you can add another free cookie from the deals section. And now you have 2 free cookies. Evidently there is no cap to this. I now get 5 free cookies with each order. It's a ducked up mess of cogs and gear that still has some duct way of working. Back when I worked for McDonald's, I was surprised to see how many rumors that were spread were false. Most of them. IMHO. McDonald's, depending on location, as a whole is pretty much okay. Also, the ice cream machines are just not cleaned properly and display dumb error codes nobody but an authorized dude knows to so blame the machine maker because they provide bad instructions and no troubleshooting help. The chicken nuggets bounce. That you don't get grossed out by eating the food all the time. A couple of Mormon missionary guys came in one time and ordered their food. And also ordered French fries with no salt. So the fries had to be fried specially. With no salt. They told me it was their tactic to get hot fries. I always thought it was hilarious how people would think they'd be so smart by ordering fries with no salt when you could literally just ask for fresh fries. All drinks come in as a syrup and are carbonated on the spot. Hence why it can taste flat sometimes. There used to be a way to get a discount code for every second that the timer was running on a coupon. But they patched that in 2017. The ice cream machine at my place usually broke down because people mixed up the milkshake bags with blue caps and the ice cream bags with red caps while filling the machine. The ice cream machine at my place usually broke down because people mixed up the milkshake bags with blue caps and the ice cream bags with red caps while filling the machine. Worked at a Chick-fil-A years ago and someone mixed up the coleslaw dressing with the ice dream mix. Was disgusting to clean. Nothing really surprised me. My first I have no idea moment was when someone asked for the big spicy from the secret menu or whatever the sandwich is called that's a Big Mac but with a spicy chicken patty thrown in as well. This is obviously situational but I knew someone who worked there and his manager would trade free food for Xanax out of the drive-thru on the overnight shift. I don't believe it was corporate policy though. That the ice cream machines aren't actually broken 99% of the time. They're typically powering up because someone forgot to turn them on at the appointed time. We just say that they're broken because it's short and concise way to express that you're not getting your ice cream for the next few hours. Fries are delicious when dipped in Big Mac sauce. People would do just about anything to get their hands on Beanie Babies in the late 90s. We had a rule that you had to buy a meal to get the Beanie Babies so people would come and order 6 meals then throw away the food and leave with the toys. Get a cheaper burger dressed as a Mac to save money on buying a Big Mac. You can ask them to throw an apple pie into the McFlurry so you now have a pie McFlurry. The big breakfast usually is made with scrambled eggs. You can ask them to be sunny side up as well. If the fries are yellow brown, the oil hasn't been changed in a long time. If they come out white very pale yellow, they're made in fresh oil. 1 pie is the same cost as 2 pies. Always buy 2. Cause why the duck not? You can ask for leaf lettuce instead of the shredded stuff. Sometimes it tastes better on certain sandwiches. The eggs are real. McDonald's is the biggest buyer of chicken and eggs in the world. The crap kind of McDonald's are you guys working at? I've worked at 2 different ones. Hours away from each other and we would never dream of pulling these stunts. You people do realize that there are cameras? And the customers can see into the kitchen? Nothing is hidden, honestly. That I can stuff 3 or 4 hot apple pies in my mouth before anybody noticed that I was doing it while boxing the hot apple pies. You can ask for grilled cheese. We put cheese between 2 backwards buns and grilled it. There is literally a hamburger university all higher management must attend. The parfaits and breakfast burritos are all portioned by hand. The fry machine breaks down just as much as the ice cream machine. Teenagers will never learn that you cannot dump grease down the drains. Coke tastes good cause it has its own tank and lines. Break rooms are disgusting cause 90% of the employees have had sex in them. Any day they run specials. Like BOGO or 50-cent quarter pound a day. Or Max for Sacks. Or whatever the hell it is now. Is super hell for the employees. Everyone who's not school age that works there wants to neck themselves. I remember coming in for my closing shift one day. I worked 5 PM 5 AM. We only had 4 grill people total. Small town, to no guac thawed out. First burger of the afternoon required it. Crack the plastic off, since it's frozen solid, threw it in a bowl and nuked it for 25 seconds. Pulled it out kinda crunchy. Mashed it down and added some hot water. Came out perfectly solid but also cold enough to seem fresh. Guest commented on how much he appreciated our fresh guacas. They claim the coffee is only kept for an hour. And they write the time it was brewed on the insulated pot. But if the pot is still over half full when its hour is up we were instructed to just change the time written on it. Nah. They said make a new pot if anyone asks for it. 1 cup sold already recovers all the cost of that entire pot. We snaked a lot of food. Anything past the throw-out time was ours. I worked there from 14 to 18. A girl I don't remember worked next door and apparently came in all the time and I guarantee I to her order multiple times. 20 years later we formally met and married. Worked at one in the 80s and learned from a training video that the French fries were sprayed with sugar water before they were frozen to give them flavor and help the outside of them turn crispier. It's a hell of a lot harder than I was expecting. I hate being verbally abused for 8 hours straight by strangers. I feel like you'd get better answers if you made this question about Taco Bell. I worked at Taco Bell in my youth. Aside from how grueling the work was, everything was really ducking clean. Cleanest kitchen you ever saw in your life. Employees never touched the food with their hands. Everything was steam cleaned or sanitized every 2 to 4 hours depending on traffic. Sanitation violations would get you fired faster than anything else. Food was still basically protein slop though. UK the customer isn't always right. The managers are usually great at shouting at rude. Entitled arseholes the machine is broken translates to it's being cleaned we can't be asked to clean it. The food really isn't as fresh as they make out. It's hot but not fresh. The fry tray is only cleaned when the overnight shifts come in. That I could get better pay for a tenth the effort working literally anywhere else. Their quarter pounders are their only fresh never frozen meat and they make them fresh as they are ordered. McDonald's makes more in real estate money than the money they get from their food sales. I discovered that working fast food is a crappy job that is thankless and underpaid. Sometimes in Texas if you don't have enough workers your Mexican boss will call his friends who will show up and work for the day without having to give documentation or anything. I'm gonna be in trouble with some McDonald's higher up looky loose but I haven't worked there for over 20 years. So I think I'm good. If you mix strawberry milkshake line with soda water equals cream soda. If you cut holes in the bottoms of the burger buns and deep fry them. Sprinkle with sugar. You got donuts. Back when McPizzas were around they have garlic oil we put on the crust. Nuggets tossed and that were awesome. Basically, it was fun cooking non-McDonald's things at McDonald's. I went to cooking school several years later. But MCDS was my origin story. I got to be an assistant manager when I was 19 to 21. From 2015 to 2017, and those 2 years the most sketchy thing I saw was some McDonald's pocket the money that you donate for their own expenses, and actually only a fraction goes to the kids dying from cancer. Next time you go to McDonald's, be careful where that money goes to, might not be where you think it's going to. Last time I talked about this, a lot of people downvoted me to hell. The general rule is you never donate for a cause charity at any store or on Amazon. You're only helping them do tax write-offs, and yes, they do pocket some. If someone really cares, always donate directly to the organization you genuinely care about. Okay, so in the corner of every McDonald's kitchen, there is a trapdoor. If you open it up and go down the stairs, you will find the McRitual chamber. Through these rituals we summon our Lord and Savior Ronald McDonald. And if we give him the proper boon, Big Mac, 10-piece McNugget, 2 quarter pounders, and the souls of 12 children who got lost in the bull pit, he will give the store good food and good sales for 10 years. How absolutely disgusting it is. I've watched other employees dip their entire arm in the sweet tea container. They often mixed up the clean rag and dirty rag bucket that was used to clean the tables. The other employees that were there longer will haze new young employees. They will literally mess up your order on purpose, or tell you the ice cream machine is broken if you're rude to them, or if they just don't like you. This was a personal experience that was in 2014. The ice cream machine is set up for failure. The damn thing always needed to do this 4-hour cleaning cycle. If you messed it up, you would have to call this neckbeard of a tech to come and fix it. Not Marcus. But I was shocked to learn from my GF that KFC gravy was hot water and powder. I had visions of them making it from scratch from chicken drippings. Don't know why I would have thought that. Was a fry cook there back in 2001. We would throw the frozen biscuits in the deep fryer and then glaze them with the icing for the bread pudding. Chef's kiss. Also, the potatoes are exactly the same as the gravy in terms of prep. Big bag of flakes. Bunch of water. Mixer. Done. The only thing that was done from scratch was the fried chicken. Everything was wet all the time in the kitchen. And your feet were constantly soaked. Surprised I didn't develop trench foot. We would regularly gamble and start cleaning the kitchen early, hoping our stock of cooked chicken would last till close. Most of the time it paid off. We used to give away all the chicken to homeless people at the end of the night. Corporate threatened to fire people if we kept doing it.